Peace. Salute, 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 and blessings. Infinite blessings to the good family. Um, this is definitely anomalous of me to be doing a live on a Monday afternoon, you guys, but things happened. Yesterday wasn't the day. So I figured that I just, get it done today instead of waiting, an entire additional, you know, week basically to check in with the good family. So I definitely wanted to come in today and speak to the good people. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that everybody is well. I'm definitely wishing you guys well. I wanted to cook on some interesting aspects, that I've come across over the past few days, and most certainly, coming off the heels of the fights that we got this weekend. Definitely some noteworthy performances and moments that we got to enjoy this weekend, and also, I guess I wanted to put a little bit of a magnifying glass towards some very questionable aspects that we witnessed, over the weekend and in the lead up to the particular fight card that we got as well. Hold on one second. Let me grab my water, you guys. Hold on. Apologies. I thought I had my water on deck, but I left it on the counter. Salute to everybody. Let me know if everything is audible for you guys. Let me know if you guys can hear me, and I will go through and see the good family that joined in so far. Give my salutations. You guys know how I like to do it. Let's see who we got in the building so far. Yes, we got my twin, the lovely twin, Daryl Anderson, the king. Salute to my twin. Let me turn my screen up so I can see everything. My twin says, salute to the beautiful queen. Hold on. Salute to the beautiful queen, aka my twin Sugar Free. And salute to the rest of the kings and the queens in the chat. I had to turn my screen way up because it was way lower than I thought. Salute to my twin. Thank you so much for joining. First on deck, as usual, 10 toes. What the wonderful energy in the building, right? Infinite blessings to my twin. And yes, get them nines all the way up in the air. Put a 9 in the chat if you guys can hear me. You already know what time it is, right? What did the twin add? He says, also, make sure the twin has her peppermints and water on deck. Hello? Yes and yes. Yes and yes. Okay, grab the water. I left it on the counter. I had to grab that really quickly. But, I did not forget my peppermints, twin. All right? You already know how it is. So thank you for letting the people, the bitches in the back know that. Infinite blessings to the twin. Who else we got on deck? We got the King Jut in the building. He says, salute to the great warrior queen. Infinite blessings to you, King Jut. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. I'm so happy to see the family rolling through. Infinite blessings to the good people. Who else we got? We got the King Insane. The King Insane in the building. He says, California love in New York. You already know where we at, King. Infinite blessings to you. You already know what time it is with the love. New York extended big love to California, and I already know how you stepping, King. Big salute to you. Wonderful to see you. Oh my goodness, my big step of the King, the great Mike. 10 toes on deck. Infinite blessings to the great Mike in the building. Big salute to you. Wonderful to see you as always. We have the King Bud in the building. Hey, King Bud. Lovely to see you. He says the incredible SugarFreeMars. Oh my goodness, my family. I'm excited to see you guys. Thank you so much for that energy, King Bud. Wonderful to see you, as I believe it has been a little bit of time since I've seen you in the chat. Thank you so much for stopping through and popping up. Definitely appreciate you in the building. We got the richest one in the building. Salute to the richest. He says, sugar. That's it. He didn't need to add anything else to that. You just left it where it's at. I appreciate you, King. Lovely to see you. Lovely to have you in the building as usual, King. I hope everything is well with you. We have TZ Frank in the building. He says, salute, sister. Infinite blessings to the King, TZ. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Oh my goodness, we got my queen, Mama Love, in the building. Infinite blessings to my queen, Mama Love, Chiquila Fields, in the building. Big, big love to you, Mama Love. She says, salute, my beautiful child of love, the warrior queen. Big hugs to you. Thank you so much, Queen Mama Love. It's always a blessing to see you. It's always a blessing to talk to you, right? I enjoyed our little powwow yesterday, right? Infinite hugs I'm sending your way. You already know how I'm stepping, Mama Love. I hope that your day has been well so far. Yes. Who else we got in the building? Let's see. We got the Notorious in the building. Salute. Definitely. Thank you for reminding the good people. You guys know I get forgetful. Definitely hit that like button on your way in, good family. I appreciate it. Salute to the Notorious for the salutation and for the reminder for the good family in the building to touch the like button. Infinite blessings to you guys. Oh my God, Daryl. Tell them again. This snow, yo. I was looking out my window last night. I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it, fam. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to motherfucking migrate south ASAP. Okay? I'm tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Northeast is getting mollywopped all upside our head, twin. You already know how it is right now. I'm looking at out that window and I'm like, oh my goodness. It's just, yeah. And y'all know I hate anything cold. So I'm definitely suffering up in here. Crazy work. Crazy work. Hopefully you're staying warm, and everybody else, anyone else who's in the Northeast going through this hellacious blizzard is also, managing to keep warm and in good spirits. I cannot wait for spring, you guys. I am not a person that does well with the cold at all. I like everything hot at all times. Anywho, let me get my mind off this, dismal, depressing ass cold weather that we're dealing with, and onto something that actually, fires up the spirit. And of course, that's some good old boxing talk. Oh my goodness, we got some more people joining in. Hold up now. We got the King Eugene in the building. Infinite blessings. He said, what's up, Sugar Free? Blessings to you. Thank you for rolling through. Oh my goodness, we got the King ATL. Big stepping in the building. You just gonna roll through in here and slide through all casually and nonchalantly. Salute to the King ATL. Infinite blessings. It's always wonderful to see you, King. I appreciate you for joining. Now, let's see where I wanted to begin, you guys, because there is an extensive conversation that I wanted to focus into view for us today. And I guess kind of centralize, of course, some very, how do I want to say this? A little bit necessary dialogue for us to pinpoint today that I just saw, kind of just rolling through the boxing world, kind of unannounced, maybe even unbeknownst to some people. I haven't really seen a lot of noise as far as the major quote unquote outlets go. But I have definitely seen some rumblings. For sure, you already knew that I knocked the door down kicking and screaming on my Twitter page as far as the things that I kind of interjected on. And I saw a lot of other conscious brothers and sisters also taking note of and pointing out some of the folly that we will be getting into today, right? And I thought this was an imperative for us to centralize because, right, we are still, I guess the boxing world is still hovering around the main event bout that took place over the weekend that featured Ryan Garcia, which was an absolute, I don't even know what to call that, debacle. It's a debacle of a fight, right? Even though that was the main event. And all of the standout things that did happen along that card had everything to not do with the main event card, right? It was actually the undercard that dominated and took over the show and stole the show as far as the display of warriorship and heart and competition and grit and all of the things that we love as boxing fans. So I wanted to tap into kind of my thoughts on that particular card and just really my thoughts, on what I see. Of course, we want to highlight the sister, the quote, Clarissa Shields, our beautiful sister, Franchon Cruz Dezern, who put on a wonderful show of warriorship themselves last evening, brothers and sisters, right? We got to give it up to our warrior queens who are out there doing their biggest one and putting on last night. I want to tap into that. And just also, I wanted to centralize our eyes and our focus on what I believe to be very, very problematic in the way in which Ryan Garcia is being prompted up at this particular point, in such a way that they want to pivot him and angle him in as close in proximity as possible to relevancy, but that relevancy is something that he only seems to manage by way of being in association with Black excellence, Black warriorship, Black elite expression in boxing. So I wanted to peel back those layers for us to go into, as I think it's a very crucial point of discourse for us, cognizant Black boxing fans, right? So let's see how I want to begin this, because it's definitely multifaceted, and I felt like the good brothers and sisters would enjoy unpacking these layers. So pretty much the job and the purpose has been fulfilled, brothers and sisters, with the entire aspect and motion of Riri the Racist, being put into focus and into view for the boxing world. Riri the Racist, in other words, good people, has officially been installed into position. He's been installed as planned by his handlers, as colluded, as plotted by his handlers. Installation successful, brothers and sisters, because that's exactly what we witnessed over the weekend with this quote unquote headlining event, which was a debacle of an event. Nothing but asininity through and through, and anity through and through. I already told y'all this going into this fight, that there was nothing worthwhile, nothing valuable or salvageable to me whatsoever about Riri the Racist versus Mario Barrios, outside of the fact of the installation process. That was the only plot and aim. Had nothing to do with best fighting the best, had nothing to do with anything. Its sole purpose was the installation of Riri the Racist into a position of further visibility in the sport so that he can continue to align himself alongside Black elite expression, off of which he can have a lifeline pulled from. Because outside of that, he has no relevancy without proximity to Black elite warriorship in boxing. It is what it is. Okay? What we will not do, good people, is sit up here and for a moment be swindled into, the buying into, this manufactured upheaval that the boxing media so desperately wants to invoke in the boxing public right now. So much that they want to peddle right now and swindle us into thinking that the performance that we saw last night and his installation process is somehow, I don't know, some display of Ryan's ascension, if you will, into boxing. A display of his ascension into prominence, into stature, and into some semblance of validity via that performance that we saw over the weekend. We know it's full of crap, brothers and sisters. We know good and damn well that this chump coward is possibly even more laughable after this performance, after that spectacle we witnessed, after all of the pullings of strings we witnessed, and seeing him be aligned to even have a goddamn title shot after such a deplorable loss, laughable loss, pathetic loss to Rolly Romero just last May. So that I find it even more laughable. This newfound, welcoming, coming out party, if you will, the celebratory atmosphere and red carpets being laid out for this man is absolutely laughable to me. It makes him all the more incredulous to me and absolutely counterfeit. Probably even more so off of the back of this performance than anything previously held, damn near, as far as I'm concerned. And I definitely say that because he was literally handed that WBC title, good people. Barrios wrapped that shit up in a pink bow and said, here you go, my dear Riri, enjoy. That's what the hell we witnessed over the weekend. A handing over of the belt. Riri the Racist has always been, need I remind you, a produced and constructed fighter. There was never a time where he wasn't that, good people. Okay? So that he was taken on by Golden Boy, prompted up as basically the second coming of De La Redbottom, right? Made in that man's image and sold to the public pretty much as the next pretty Mexican sensation. That's really what was at hand with that whole thing, with the prompting up of Riri the Racist throughout his career and up until this particular juncture, right? Next pretty Mexican sensation, made in the image of De La Hoya, pretty much. The next goddamn, the boxing version of Menudo out this bitch, right? Right? Except that, unlike his father, De La Redbottom, Riri doesn't possess and never has possessed half of this skill set, half of the prowess, dog energy, and warrior spirit that we have long known Oscar De La Hoya to have represented in his heyday, right? Well, he is going off of the image, but Riri is not stepping 10 toes a fraction near to what De La Hoya had expressed in his coming up, right? In his reign in boxing. These are just the facts of the matter, right? But one thing he is good for, perhaps, is, garnering some TikTok, followers out here, some Instagram followers, right? He may sure be good at stirring sassy men in their emotions who adore him. Perhaps that's a plus in his favor, something that he is good at, right? I mean, after all, let's not forget, brothers and sisters, we had, the terrible job of having to sit and witness just after he was coming off of the tumultuous, scandalous drug cheating debacle against Devin. We had to sit there and actually witness grown men within supposedly boxing media, right? Sit up there and cajole a drug cheat right off of the back of that scandal. Soon as he popped dirty, it didn't matter. Instead of the media scrutinizing him, if not lambasting his behavior at that particular time for having popped dirty against Devin, instead of doing that, the media, grown-ass men, y'all, opted to cajole that man, tell him how pretty he was. Y'all remember? They will be beguiled by and ensorcelled by Riri the Racist. Oh, your hair is so slick back, so nice today, right? And you guys remember, oh, Riri, y'all remember how they were? Oh, Riri, you're so pretty. You pretty as shit, Riri. You so pretty, Riri. This is literally what was being said to this man after learning that he had popped dirty for PEDs. It's crazy work and it's mind-blowing every time I, recollect on that. This is what was expressed to that man at that time. This was expressed to a man that could have, God forbid, done the unthinkable in that ring that particular night, brothers and sisters. This is how a drug cheat was not only pardoned, but absolutely welcomed with open arms by the boxing media. Right? So, as we are all privy, brothers and sisters, the general boxing media, which is pretty much old media, right, had been unrelenting in their efforts, as we've seen in the build up to this fight, and just in general over the past year or over the past year and a half or so, going into 2 years since the scandal, um, unrelenting in their effort to propel Riri the racist forward as being a spotless canvas. That is what we witnessed, particularly in the build up to this fight that happened over the weekend, brothers and sisters, right? Same thing that they did in his fight with Rolly Romero. They wanted to create a clean slate for Riri the racist, present him as a spotless canvas, having no history whatsoever of drug cheating, of counterfeit behavior, and anything of the sort. Spotless canvas is how they presented him. Every attempt has been made ever since he popped dirty for PEDs against Devin to efface and unblemish his image. That's all the attempt and the motive has been surrounding this man, as far as the old media, the general media landscape is concerned. They wanted to efface and unblemish his past drug use, counterfeit practices. They wanted to efface the history of foul play and degeneracy. That's been the aim. And they've been working hard, brothers and sisters, to sanitize his appeal as best they can so that they can reinstate him into a position of favorability with boxing goers, whether they are aware of that counterfeit degeneracy or not. They want to sanitize. They want to, reform his image in the eyes of the boxing public. And it's crazy work having, sat back watching this. And the thorn in the side to this agenda, brothers and sisters, is undoubtedly you and me. All of us here today, the good brothers and sisters, the conscious boxing community, who have decided to have no part of that inanity whatsoever, right? And there are a lot of us out here, even the ones who may not necessarily be as vocal or as visible as you and I may be, right? But there are a lot of conscious folk out here who ain't buying that shit, right? But absolutely, there are those, out there, people who no doubt, are just, running the gamut on the meat riding and the long stroking of the Riri bandwagon. You definitely got those sassy ass man fans out there as well. However, as I have come across, a lot of posts, a lot of perspectives across social media and what have you, these past couple of days in the aftermath of this fight, it's definitely refreshing to see. And I'm glad to see that there are many people that are hip to the swindling and the agenda, based, material and promotion and circulation around Riri Garcia. There are a lot of people who are privy to it and are not buying into it. And that's been refreshing to see, considering that we know a lot of people have been swindled into believing the delusion, that is racist Riri Garcia. I posit that this is the fact why the boxing media has so adamantly been inundating all of social media with that absurd, outlandish, promotion of him, claims that he is the next quote unquote superstar, if you will. Oh, he's the next superstar, you guys. It's absolutely nasty work. Absolutely nasty work, but it has been very, very, very much refreshing to see a lot of people say, who, this man didn't fight, who did he fight? He just went in there and had the belt, landed in his lap pretty much. So that the consciousness of the boxing community outside of our little, sacred spaces seems to be expanding. And that's been really good, but you really can't make it up. This is what they were pressing forward, brothers and sisters. I wanted to show you this. I don't know if I have this. Hold on. I thought I had it. The little cartoon image that I had come across. I don't think I do, but I'll probably put it up a little bit later for you guys. Anyway, but this is actually what was being said about Riri Garcia, that he is the next superstar. Oh, the next superstar. Can Ryan be the next superstar? He's going to be the next superstar, when he claims the title, this, that, and the third. I mean, you really just can't make it up. And the fact that I was coming, I was being inundated by it. It was just coming up on my feed, coming up on my feed, left and right. In the build up to the fight, it was absolutely crazy work to me. From Ring Magazine, they were posting it, and all types of other Riri sympathizers out there across the social media landscape, which I'm sure many of you have come across as well, in the build up and lead up to the fight. Now, there's always going to be a level of advocacy, I guess, for the things that we find to be disagreeable and unsettling to some capacity or degree, right? That's natural, right? Everybody has their own dispositions, and we will largely, not agree with much of what it is that we see. As far as boxing is concerned, and real talk, just everything, right? Concerning entertainment and the culture as a whole. The reality is that the name of the game is majoritively a corporate-backed, agenda-based, subsidized game of marketing. That's really what it is. Okay? The pushing of agenda, via these marketing games that are solely run by and motivated by money and sustained by money. Whatever's going to push that agenda and pay the most, for the, claiming of center stage is what it is. And Riri most certainly has the machine and the wheel behind him as far as boxing is concerned, right? But what there's a failure to realize by these corporate-backed, subsidized, marketing people, what they fail to realize is that that's simply where his appeal begins and ends. That's something that I really, really want to scrutinize right now. His appeal ends there, brothers and sisters, because there is no credence or stature or cogency that we can attribute to him outside of a visibility or popularity gain. And we can't even really, mark that as credulous, really. We can't even say that that's credible, right? All of these followers that he's garnered, supposedly all this, that, and the third, because that may very well have been bought as well, which I had no suspicions about whatsoever, that those types of things have been bought and also manufactured, just like everything else concerning his image, brothers and sisters. I mean, just simply look at the folly of him now having acquired a belt. Let's just deal with that, the aspect of the belt. And belts in general, as far as how they have been viewed in boxing, essay of the past 2-3 years or so. Let's just look at the idea and the aspect of the belt. And now upon you guys seeing Ryan having supposedly won this belt, let's ask this question. Belts matter all of a sudden, brothers and sisters? Do belts matter now, overnight? Just like that, at the drop of a goddamn hat? Belts all of a sudden matter now? Now we are all celebratory around the idea, galvanized by the idea of championship and having a strap? We're all in the mood, to look at the belt as the pinnacle, as the thing. I thought they put that shit down. I thought it wasn't cute to have no goddamn belt. Wasn't this just not too long ago, brothers and sisters? We had all types of people shitting on belts and saying, oh, who needs a belt? And oh, it's all about the big fights, and you don't need a belt to be credible. You don't need a belt to be verified. Wasn't that just the dialogue, brothers and sisters? All of a sudden now that Riri the Racist won his belt over the weekend, now it's the thing. Now it's a crown to parade around and showcase to the world and put high on a mantle somewhere to pedestalize the idea of belt holding. Did you guys notice that? That's the sentiments that's going around from this old media landscape right now currently, and the people being swindled into that? What is this throne, brothers and sisters, that Riri captured? What is this throne that he captured all of a sudden and overnight, brothers and sisters? Look at this image, good people. Let's just look at Exhibit A really quickly. What is this throne throne all of a sudden now. So that now it's a throne. Now this is something worthy of heralding. Is this where we've come to now? I find this to be extremely, extremely interesting, given that not too long ago, but a hop, skip, and a jump away from where we are now, motherfuckers was shitting on the idea of a belt. And particularly Riri himself, brothers and sisters. Let's think about this. What is this motherfucking throne that he supposedly captured, brothers and sisters, if belts don't matter? Ain't that the flag that motherfuckers was just waving around, good people? Belts don't matter? Tell me if I'm tripping, brothers and sisters, because if I'm tripping, you know what I mean? I'll concede to that. I have no problem doing that. If you say, Mars, what's going on? What's going on, Free? You bugging a little bit over here. I would accept that. Am I tripping or not, brothers and sisters? Why are they just saying belts don't goddamn matter? Look at your screen. Ryan Garcia, world champion, with the crown on his head, just as proud as can be. You see this? How interesting is that? These were his words, good people. He said these words, that belts do not matter. Not long ago. Y'all remember? Y'all remember? And it wasn't only Riri the racist toting that banner around, good people. Oh no, it wasn't him alone. It was not him alone. That idea swooped in, you guys, unmitigatingly among these dudes that you guys consider your favorites. Purple Pain goddamn Davis is a forerunner and forebearer of that logic. He absolutely advocated for belts don't matter. Unless he wanted to, swindle you into believing that he won one at 140 or something like that, right? Any other time outside of that, belts don't matter. That's Purple Pain Davis. Oh, let's not forget Shakap E.T. Stevenson, as I call him now. Okay? Shakap E.T. Stevenson. Oh, yes, this is another advocate. And of course, we got Keyshawn Davis still waving that banner around of belts don't matter. He said it only a few weeks ago. Oh, it's all about the big fights. You don't need a belt. So that this particular parlance is still inundating the landscape via these particular men, for whatever reason, who hold this mindset. Riri, of course, being a goddamn part of that. Racist Riri. These are the suckers who popularized that nonsense. My question is, if that is the case, why this celebratory mood, brothers and sisters, all of a sudden? What is there to celebrate if belts do not matter? What are you celebrating for? What's the point of it? Right? Here's another image for you guys. Ring Magazine, of course, spearheading it all. Look at this. Ryan Garcia finally claims the throne. King Ryan beats Mario Barrios to win the WBC welterweight title. You hear this? Ryan Garcia finally claims the throne. So now it's a throne to be claimed when he is a title holder. There's no validity to a title and being a champion outside of the parameters of Riri Garcia, right? All of a sudden, it's a throne that he's claimed for himself. The king has claimed his throne. Isn't that interesting, brothers and sisters? Right? And so that the adulation, they're just running rampant with it. Why is old media so ecstatic and galvanized by Riri being a quote unquote world champion, where they are not as nearly ecstatic when Devin Haney is a champion, when Abdullah Mason became champion? Do you understand? Right? How can you be crowned something or crowned by something that holds no merit or relevance, according to these chumps? These are by his words, Riri himself. How can he be accredited as having been claiming a throne of something that he doesn't show merit for? Something that he said had no relevance or significance for him as a fighter. So it looks mighty laughable for him now to be being propped up as some, as some world champion. Oh, he's a world champion. World champion, y'all. Look at the pride of this poster they made. World champion now. Feast your eyes, you guys. Look at the world champion. Right? So he's trying to be credited by the very thing he discredited. And that seems to be a very, very recurrent theme with Riri the Racist, brothers and sisters. Very much so. That I will also tap into. Right? All of a sudden, world championship matters so long as they do not have to acknowledge somebody like the young king, the only man in boxing among his contemporaries who actually prominently held, vouched for, and represented and achieved the highest level of championship that one can amass and accomplish in boxing. We don't give the credit due there. Right? Right. Now, this is another thing that I wanted to highlight, brothers and sisters. And it's something that I find to be an absolute imperative for us to focus in on. And that is the blatant need for racist Riri and his conspirators and handlers to constantly place him within proximity to Black elite warriorship in boxing in order that he claim and sustain relevancy in the sport. Do you guys get me? He and his handlers need to constantly propel this man in a state in proportion to, in proximity to elite Black warriorship, so that they can sustain for themselves, for racist Riri, a point of relevancy for his career, because without that association, without being in proximity to Black elite warriorship in boxing, he has no relevancy. You guys got to be aware of that. Anybody who isn't, that is, because I'm plenty sure that my good brothers and sisters already are. That needs to be understood. You need to understand that this man is being developed, acclimated to, acculturated, curated, and molded and validated by Black warriorship. This is how he is being accredited as a fighter, brothers and sisters. This is what is amassing his quote unquote stature, if that's what you want to call it. He has none to me, right? But as far as his visibility, acceptance among the boxing world, he is being molded within the shadow of Black warriorship. This is his point of relevance, brothers and sisters. And what's also of note and absolute paramount for us to comprehend this afternoon, good people, is that this is happening, this molding of him, this acculturating process that he is being made to go through via his proximity to Blackness is happening by way of this man who publicly disparaged, publicly disgraced, publicly denigrated Black people. Yeah, that part. That part, brothers and sisters. So that his entire image is being made off the very back of the people he discredited and lambasted and denigrated. Also, not very long ago. I know the recency bias is replete out here in these boxing streets, brothers and sisters, but motherfuckers in the Black boxing community got to reel their intelligence back in because it's fucking running haywire all over the goddamn place right now. Recency bias is taking absolutely over everything right now. People have convenient and selective amnesia, the most whimsical memory in all of sports. This man not too long ago disparaged Black people, Black culture, Black suffering even. This is the man being made in your shadow. This is the man being supplied a lifeline via your output, the output of our elite Black men in this sport. It's absolutely critical, brothers and sisters, and vital for his career that he remain in association with the very people he maligned and slandered outrightly and unabashedly. Make that make sense and let that sink in. Let me ask you this. Why can't Riri go make a name for himself and amass attention in any way whatsoever, in any particular way or form or whatever? Why can he not amass attention in the acquisition of fights against, I don't know, other Latinos? Why is his relevance not predicated upon the bouts made with his fellow Latino brothers and sisters? Right? Why isn't he able to pull and amass the level of relevance that he does in his association and proximity to Blackness, in other words, brothers and sisters? Why he can't go over there and do that and find relevance? Mario goddamn Barrios didn't bring any level of relevance to Riri the Racist in this particular fight, outside of the fact that Barrios had a belt. That's the only point of relevance that fight brought forth for Riri Garcia, that he can now be toted up and propelled forth as, you know, a champion finally, or whatever, as you saw in the poster that I shared with you. But you know what? I thought Mexican fanship, for example, was the savior and centerpiece of boxing, according to goddamn Max Kellerman and all these motherfucking delusional ass media outlets and pundits. Oh, the Mexican boxing community is the backbone of boxing, the heartbeat and centerpiece of boxing. Well, why the fuck he can't go over there and make his name if that's the case? Why isn't he relevant over there? Why is it always the calling out of Shakur Stevenson? Why wasn't his fight with Tank Davis that really propelled his career forward as far as his visibility? Why was it the denigration of Devin Haney that he attempted to do almost 2 years ago in that ring with the PED drug scandal? Because that's really where he amassed the highest level of visibility that he could garner for himself, was in the attempt to compromise Devin Haney. So that no matter what angle you put it within or what context you put it under, his association and proximity to Blackness is absolutely paramount in the sustenance of his visibility and credence. If that's the case, the Latin fan base, being the 10 toes, and they're the ones that buy the pay-per-views. They're the ones that go to the fight because allegedly, I don't know, black people just don't buy fights, just don't care about boxing, even though we the fucking fathers and mothers of this shit. But that's the mythology. Black people don't care about boxing. They don't go to boxing, fights. They don't buy boxing, whatever the case is. They don't show up, whatever the case. Okay, well, if that's the case, why don't Riri go call out for that Mexican fan base, that Latino fan base in general, and go ahead and go find some viability over there? Right. Now, brothers and sisters, I came across a picture posted by DAZN, and honestly, I came across it last evening, but I didn't want to write about it until today when I was of clear mind, and I absolutely responded to this post on DAZN's Twitter page. If you guys are on Twitter, you guys may have come across this post in particular, and probably if you were scrolling through the comments, would see me pop up in there. Now, this particular picture of the post that I came on the DAZN Twitter page, is almost as astounding as it was disgusting and reviling, right? I say almost as astounding because there is a large part of me that isn't surprised, given the point of dialogue that I'm bringing you today, because I'm absolutely privy and cognizant of the fact that his proximity to Black warriorship, Black elite expression in boxing is a necessity for him, is his lifeline, right? And so I wasn't as surprised, but I was definitely reviled and appalled by this post that I came across. And it is actually, the background image of the meme that you're looking at on your screen. But I also wanted to share with the good brothers and sisters the actual post itself. And this is it. This is the actual post. I took this photo from this particular post. But this is the post, brothers and sisters, on DAZN Boxing's Twitter. And if you guys just had an opportunity, to take a look at these comments, there are a lot of brothers and sisters in these comments going, excuse me? Excuse me? There are a lot of brothers and sisters not happy at all by this post and image and what's being insinuated. The idea of comparison by any stretch is being taken as an absolute disrespect to a lot of our brothers and sisters who have shared their views, and comments on this particular post on DAZN's Twitter page, brothers and sisters, reviling as it gets, especially in me highlighting today's discussion. Okay? This image really solidifies my point in that it's an absolute perfect example, honestly, of the desperation, the acute attempt that these media outlets and his handlers, along with himself, need to maintain. This desperation, it's an acute attempt to keep this fucking puss on a lifeline via the strategic placement and proximity to elite Black expression, period. Our brother Kobe Bryant is not a boxer, but this is an expression of what? Elite Black presence, Black excellence, brothers and sisters. And given the example that I told you, or I should say, helping you, assisting you in recollecting on the fact that this man publicly scandalized Black people, publicly disavowed, lambasted, shitted on the history of Black people, Black lives, brothers and sisters. This is who they are putting in a comparative photo with one of our most honored greats in sports history, period. Brothers and sisters, look at your screen. Share this, screenshot this. Go to that motherfucking DAZN Twitter page and state your claim. This shit is disrespectful. And any cognizant boxing fan should be looking at this absolutely repulsed. Considering the history of Ryan Garcia and all of the disgusting sentiments he expressed about our people, our culture, brothers and sisters. Excuse me? You tell me what respectable, upstanding person in the Jewish community would salute a post by somebody who marginalized and defamed and defiled their history via, a comparative picture being placed with somebody who disparaged their people and their history. What person of any community would stand in salutation of that or stand in silence in such a post? The disparaging of their own people, their history. Who would allow that association to be made, brothers and sisters, of any other particular community? It's way too fucking silent out here, as far as I'm concerned. And I absolutely went off in my response under this particular post, right along with the brothers and sisters who were also not having it. We need to understand this. Because it is true that he is being developed and molded and validated via his proximity to Black warriorship, Black excellence, Black sportsmanship, brothers and sisters. It does not matter that he defiled your people. It does not matter that he didn't give a fuck. He spat on the grave of a Black man and said that he would unalive him again. Again. This is Riri the racist. This is why he is tagged with that name. That is the only name I will ever refer to him as, because that is what he is. Don't tell me about no goddamn, oh, we doing it for promotion on some T.O. shit. These fucking cop-out goddamn please. Oh, they just did it for promotion. You're trying to backtrack your words now. Ain't no goddamn backtracking. You're going to stand on that shit. If you ain't mean it, don't say it. Not to me. I'm the wrong one to play that game with. This man denigrated Black people. Yet in the image on your screen, he is placed in comparison to elite Black athleticism, elite Black sportsmanship, Black excellence, in other words, brothers and sisters. Do you see this? You have to understand the severity of this image and what is being denoted to you constantly by way of his association with your image, brothers and sisters, and what you represent. Your accolades. Let it sink in real good. Absolutely solidifies my point. This picture shows the man being compared to Kobe Bryant, ladies and gentlemen. Kobe. I need not remind anybody in here with a brain of who this man is and what he represented to us. Definitely to the NBA and to all the sports entertainment world, yes, as an athlete. But most centrally to us. I need you to process this, because the disrespect and the disregard and the disgrace of this image is absolutely insurmountable when we are looking at it for what it is. So that the man who went on a public racist tirade saying that he, quote, hates all N-words, all Muslims even. This man can be equated and paralleled and matched to the stature to any degree of one of the most pivotal, deeply respected, deeply honored elite Black athletes of this generation? These senseless, Black boxing community fans out here better wake the hell up, people. They better wake up. This coward and puss is being legitimated constantly via your image, via your courage, via your valor and your culture. All while calling you every N-word under the sun and saying he will unalive you and do it again. This is what's happening under the nose of the Black boxing community. Let that resonate. This man, racist Riri, has publicly disparaged and denigrated Black people unapologetically, without impunity from the boxing media. No impunity whatsoever. That man didn't get so much as a tap on a goddamn ass. Nothing. When he was out here making those disgusting statements. He got banned, but he was still beloved. He still had roses thrown at his feet. We saw other athletes, Keyshawn and Shakur Stevenson, for example, kissing up to this man. We saw silence replete in the boxing streets. People didn't even want to speak on the matter of Ryan's cheating, let alone, the comments that he made about Black people and the denigration of our people and culture and suffering in this country. No impunity whatsoever from boxing media or boxing people in general, in the entire, community through and through. Yet these people on DAZN have the absolute audacity to not only associate this racist coward with Black excellence, but to attempt to validate him, as I said, through the people that he slandered, introduced. He can introduce and slander Black people and be put up in association with them in the next. Absolutely shameless and completely ignoble on every level, brothers and sisters. But it's imperative that we see this for what it is. Absolutely nasty work. And it makes me wonder, and I'm sure it has a lot of you thinking, that consequently, off of the back of all of this, off of the back of his installation, into championship, for the first time in his career and stuff like that, off the back of all of this, what does it mean for him moving forward? Right? Because he was given, the lifeline via Blackness once again. Right? So that he is calling for the likes of Shakur Stevenson. He was made via the compromising of Devin Haney, right? So that his association is a constant line. It's a constant theme. But what is it going to be looking like for this man moving forward is a question that I have. Anybody notice that he didn't call out the Young King? Speaking of the Young King, anybody notice that he didn't call out Young King? Where was the call out? Is he not a champion at welterweight, brothers and sisters? I mean, if there's anybody to call out, it would be the Young King Devin, facts or no. At least goddamn Rolly Romero, the man who motherfucking mollywopped you and made you eat the goddamn canvas. No calling out of Rolly Romero either. Who does he call out instead, brothers and sisters? None other than Shakur E.T. Stevenson. No hesitation whatsoever, no reticence whatsoever. He called out Shakur E.T. Stevenson, right? Interesting stuff. Of course, he cited the name of the Young King because, he can't do anything really without the constant reminder, without the constant pulling from the pool of Black elite warriorship. He's got to say Devin's name at some point. I mean, it's the only way he's relevant. right? It's the only way he can remind the people, the gullible boxing public, oh, remember, don't forget now, I'm the one that put, Devin in a compromised position. Oh, don't pay attention to the fact that I cheated. Remember, I'm the only man to put him on the canvas. See, that was me. So he has to constantly wash himself, submerge himself, inundate himself with the name of Devin, at some particular point, right? So that in this situation, he, of course, mentioned Devin's name in his post-presser, the actual post-presser, not the post-fight interview, but the post-presser interview. Definitely mentioned Devin and stuff like that, right? Of course, he has to ride the coattails of the man who gave him his relevancy to begin with, right? So that he mentioned Devin. He cried something about, Devin leaving the comment. This is the comment that Devin made, okay? And looking at the fight, Devin, the young king, says, Ryan off that good juice, right? So that we see Devin taking notice, of course, to what's going on. And of course, raising consciousness and awareness to the fact that this man is a drug cheat, right? We're not going to be swindled in the propaganda that is attempting to sanitize this man's image to you. Shout out to the young king, Devin Haney, for reminding the bitches in the back that this man got an affinity for that juice, right? So that's the young king making his statement after Riri's, I guess, victory, if that's what you want to call it. I definitely don't call it a victory. My word for it is installation. That's the word that I find to be, most plausible here, right? But of course, racist Riri lamented in that post-presser interview about this comment that Devin made. Somebody had brought up the fact that Devin had made this statement, alluding to his PED use, right? And Riri's response to that was, oh, Devin doesn't want it. He is just being a cry baby. Oh, I beat him. He doesn't really want the fight, blah, blah, blah. You know how he does. Well, it seems a lot to me like Devin wants the goddamn fight, brothers and sisters. I'm sure all of you have seen by now that Devin Haney had posted on Twitter that would be the biggest fight in boxing, this particular fight with he and Riri the racist. So that Devin never changed his tune, brothers and sisters. Devin always wanted this particular fight. Hell, he wanted it before he even exited the ring in April of 2024. This was the reason why he was even going to go to the extent of suing Riri the racist, so that he can get the rematch, so that he can get it back in blood, as they say. And every attempt was made, every motion was made to avert the smoke on the part of Riri the racist and De La Redbottom. They want no problems, they want no smokes, no qualms with the young king whatsoever. They've been skirting off ever since and are still doing it right now for the reason why he wouldn't utter Devin's name as far as a call out in his post-fight interview. But Devin is very much still on it. Very much still on it. He just posted last night, that he wants that smoke. Okay? Crazy, crazy work. But supposedly, according to racist Riri, oh, he don't want it, or I beat him, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't really want the fight. But, it's just nonsensical everywhere you turn. Ducked every opportunity for a rematch that was allotted to him by DHP. The young king knows, okay, this coward's plot to skirt, duck, and evade him. But it makes him know, never mind, because at the end of the day, Devin does want his get back. He does want to set things right, as he said time and time again in his own words, right? But Devin also is privy to the fact that Riri opted out of VADA testing for a period of time, brothers and sisters. I believe this was from about June, right after the Rolly fight, from about June to December. Riri mysteriously opted out of VADA testing, brothers and sisters, only to sign up for it, for this particular fight that he had with Barrios. Let that sink in. From June to December, this man was undergoing no VADA testing whatever. Let's not play cute, brothers and sisters. We all know what the purpose of that served. Okay? To go that long without VADA testing. Only right up until the lead up to this particular fight that he had signed on to with Rolly, did he supposedly, sign up for the VADA testing, which he absolutely decided to keep secret. He did not want to publicize his VADA testing for this particular fight with Mario Barrios. He posted one little picture of, I guess a test that he had taken, however many weeks ago, and that was that. But decided largely to keep it private. He gave himself a good while to cycle immediately, in my view, from that period of June to December. He gave himself a good portion to reap the benefits of whatever it was that he was doing during the time that he was not being VADA tested for those months, so that he can get those benefits, before signing on to the fight with Mario Barrios, right? Young King ain't trying to play with this clown. You already know how the Young King is stepping. Should they fight? Should Ryan Garcia ever grow the fucking balls to rematch Devin? You already know the Young King is going to be 10 toes with the VADA testing thoroughly. And I'm not talking about no goddamn 8 weeks alone. It's going to be extensive VADA testing, as he should implement, given the history and foul play of this man. Crazy, crazy work to me. In my view, brothers and sisters, I don't even think that Devin Haney should even be batting an eye at that coward. Keep his ass in the trash where he belongs. That's my view. I had it my way. He wouldn't even look twice at that man. Trash belongs in a goddamn garbage. No point in wasting time on some chump, that's scared of his own shadow, can't even get in there and compete on a real level with you, because he's not a competitor at all. He has no value, no worth whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen, in my view. Now, as far as that Mario Barrios fight, I don't even think it's worth even going into, my views about that, because Mario presented absolutely no opposition whatsoever, in that particular fight. I mean, he just walked in there, like I said, handed that motherfucker, the belt on a platter, wrapped it up in a nice little pink bow and said, "Merry Christmas." That's what that fight looked like to me. And that's precisely why the fight was sought after to begin with, brothers and sisters. So that with this installation, there's an apparent trajectory that was set up for Riri, to get his strap and to, I guess, assume whatever level of maybe authority or, movement that he thought he can garner, right? So that now the thing is that they want to, they are putting him in proximity to Shakur Stevenson at this particular moment. Shakur E.T. Stevenson is on the trajectory of Riri the Racist, brothers and sisters. There is a streamlined straight shot right to Riri. I'm sorry, right to Shakap, right? That's who seems to be, in his view right now, and vice versa for Shakur Stevenson. We've heard Shakur Stevenson calling out Riri the Racist as well, right? All at the fight, Shakap is in there, laughing it up, looking it up, talking and commentating and, making his little comments. He's right there front row when, Riri the Racist called his ass out. He's up there smiling, just, giddy. Oh, God, I was disgusted looking at that, you guys. Right? But that seems to be the move. He's just looking overjoyed, tickle pink in the crowd. Rapturous that Riri called him out. Oh, yes, he called my name. Right? Did y'all see Shakur Stevenson? Just coming up roses, brothers and sisters. Right? Riri called out E.T. Stevenson. And, he said, oh, I want him. I want Shakur. I got to have Shakur next. Right? And you see Shakur in the audience, just with every level of alacrity you can imagine, just smiling and cheesing as hard as he can. Now, the thing that is so interesting to me, brothers and sisters, is that this fight will be of absolutely no value whatsoever, in terms of it not being for any strap, brothers and sisters. I mean, where is Shakur Stevenson planning to fight him? You think racist Riri is going to give up his point of benefit just to fight E.T. Stevenson? That's not going to happen, right? Riri finally amassed a belt for himself, so he's going to put that aside, absolutely jettison the very accomplishment that is going to, give him a sense of stature. He's going to put that down just to fight Shakur Stevenson at a catchweight. because supposedly Shakur wants it to be at 144, whatever have you. What's the point of the fight? It doesn't make sense at all. What's the game, brothers and sisters? Can somebody let me know? I mean, outside of what Shakur Stevenson always, boasts about, what he likes to gasconade about, which is big money fights. I mean, outside of that, what is its worth and its value to boxing, to us as boxing fans? I don't give a damn about that. You know what I mean? There's no strap on the line. What's the purpose? What is it really serving for either of you outside of a payday? I take issue with that. If Riri just won his damn strap to suddenly give it up, what he accomplished and what he tried to, dedicate to as a heartfelt dedication to his father. Oh, I got this belt for my dad, finally becoming a champion, et cetera, et cetera. What's being serviced if they aren't going to fight for a title? He and E.T. Stevenson. I don't get it. That it goes without saying that it's an absolute optics game, good people. Nothing more than an optics game as far as that's concerned with the E.T. Stevenson and racist Riri. Right? It's an attempt to shift and sway perspective, as they see it, to shape and mold, further level of acceptance of, both E.T. Stevenson and Riri the racist, brothers and sisters, because let's not be misconstrued in our understanding that E.T. Stevenson is absolutely eating up and lapping up all of this attention that he is getting so that his association with Riri, he feels, will further garner him public adulation and acceptance as far as the general boxing landscape is concerned. Shakur Stevenson is absolutely eating up this newfound attention that he's acquiring for himself off the back of this Tio fight, brothers and sisters. Okay? That's something for us to look at very, very closely and inspect as well. Has nothing to do with valor, fervor, gallantry, or warriorship, brothers and sisters. This is marketing. Marketing. And as far as E.T. Stevenson is concerned, right? He is loving this stuff up from the establishment. His association with the establishment. Oh, he is, a kid in the candy store out here. After being tagged and labeled a runner, you remember? E.T. Stevenson was called everything except a pound for pound not too long ago, brothers and sisters. This is the man they called Tom and Jerry, boring, a runner, etc., etc. Okay? So that Shakab E.T. Stevenson could not be more contented by this level of approval and endorsement that he is receiving right now. For the reason why he is motioning for a fight with Riri the racist. Okay? E.T. Stevenson will coon it up. We already saw him coon it up. He has no objections whatsoever to cooning it up when it's time. We saw proof of that. He done cooned it up before for us, brothers and sisters, so he has no problem continuing within that path. He is definitely the type to do that, as he's proven. He's going to coon it up. He's going to lap it up for as long as he can, as long as they are endorsing him and showing him this level of approval. The general boxing landscape that is, he's going to shuck and jive as best he can. He's going to do his biggest one to shuck and jive, baby. Okay? As long as it suffices. Let's not forget that Shakur E.T. Stevenson, wants the devotion, wants the affection of the general boxing world. He wants to be called a 4-division champion, whatever have you, right? Not that that's a bad thing that he has amassed that for himself, because like I said, kudos to him on that. Teofimo Lopez victory was the most significant, as I have been positing all of this time, victory of his entire career, right? So that it is good that he is doing that, right? But he is loving this. This is what he wanted. He is in his lust. And it doesn't matter how he maintains his proximity to acceptance from the larger boxing world. Brothers and sisters, that's the difference. Is that it's no holds bar for his ass, Coonan included. Nothing is out of reach. Nothing is out of the discussion. will do whatever to keep the adulation coming. He told us outrightly, good people, that he doesn't any longer want to or find worth within becoming undisputed. So that his, like I said earlier, entire disposition of belts, and if belts matter or whatever have you, is compromised. He has no problem putting his belts down. He has no problem finding no merit or saying that belts don't even have merit in the sport, just like racist Riri. Two sides of the same coin, in my view, as far as that perspective is concerned. Right? He absolutely did the song and the dance about how belts don't matter. But he wants all the sugar on your words when you refer to his accolades. Oh, I'm a 4-division champion, right? We even heard him throw shade and quietly lambaste Devin Haney for possibly, pursuing a fight with Xander Zayas, saying, oh, yeah, I think he's just trying to be like me. This is what he's saying about Young King. He's trying to be like me. That's why I think he's going after a fight with Xander Zayas, because he wants to be also a 4-division champion, right? So that he wants the sugar on your words when you refer to those accolades. But in the same breath, E.T. Stevenson is going to tell you belts don't fucking matter. Right? The double talking, just like we spoke about a couple of lives ago, is plenty at work here. Man is absolutely full of himself. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Now, let's see what else I wanted to tap into here. And what's crazy is that call me a 4-division champion. This is the goddamn same E.T. Stevenson who didn't even want to pay for his sanctioning fees to remain champion. Ain't that crazy? Wasn't he just goddamn kicking and screaming about paying sanctioning fees that he already knew and was a stipulation? The more I unpack about these things in my mind, the more laughable it is to me. This is the man who's willing to sacrifice his only, his newly won title to fight Riri the racist for absolutely nothing more than a payday and a fake level of acceptance and a tap on the head by the suits and string pullers who don't even give a damn about him outside of how much he can stand in opposition himself to elite Black supremacy in boxing. What's Shakur Stevenson's proximity to Blackness, brothers and sisters? Is he not running from it? Let's look at this, good people. Here, Riri the racist is running towards relevancy by way of proximity to Blackness. I mean, he is fighting Black people, at least motioning to fight elite Black people. Tank Davis, Devin Haney is on his resume, right? Meanwhile, Shakab Stevenson hasn't fought one elite. One elite. How is he being outdone by racist Riri, brothers and sisters? Shakur's proximity to Black excellence is highly questionable when we put it in that context and in that view, beautiful people. What's going on? What is his proximity to Blackness and the elite Black warriorship? What is he being made by and through? How is Shakur Stevenson, for example, being molded? Is he not being molded by way of running from the biggest fight he could make in his career, which is Devin Haney, who has been incessantly calling for that man's head? Seems like Shakur is running his ass off away from proximity to Black excellence, Black expression, brothers and sisters. And here racist Riri is running towards it and calling the likes of Shakur Stevenson out. I mean, hell, if Riri Garcia never grows the balls to take the rematch with Devin Haney, at least he fought him, right? What is Shakur Stevenson doing? Same thing with fucking gopher Keyshawn Davis. Bunch of clout chasing simps. Wants no parts of the smoke. Waving all types of false alarms around. Riding coattails. But running away from proximity to their own Black elite expression by way of, clashing swords with other elite Black men in the sport. Most notably, the young king, Devin Haney. Huh? The logic ain't goddamn logicking out here. You mean to tell me that a racist, drug-cheating chump can get a semblance of credence by way of sharpening iron with elite Black men in the sport? Meanwhile, these two brothers are running away from it? Talk to me nice, good people. Tell me if I'm tripping. What is going on? Shakur is out here being called and considered a pound-for-pound fighter for beating a nigga that got mollywopped by George Kambosos. Mollywopped all upside his head by goddamn George Kambosos. Are we forgetting something here, people? That the young king already made easy work, mashed potatoes out of George Kambosos. Why wasn't the young king on a pound-for-pound list when he defeated that man? There's some questions to be asked here, brothers and sisters, some reconnaissance and inspection and interrogation that needs to be done and implemented here. The asininity and inanity is just widespread, and you really can't make it up, right? Now, I wanted to get into the undercards because I didn't want to go without mentioning. I think it's a disgrace, to actual boxing enthusiasts that these particular men of the actual, card that took place over the weekend are not being spoken about enough as far as the larger context is concerned. Like I say, I always have to highlight and salute the conscious boxing community, who uphold the poignant and imperative discussions around these things that we highlight, that we do not let go under the radar, right? But I also wanted to highlight it here on my platform as well. And that is the wonderful and incredible performances that we got from Frank Martin, you know what I'm saying, and Nair Albright, and of course, Gary Antoine Russell, and Andy Hirooka, right? And these particular fights like that on the undercard. I know the young brother Omari Jones also had a fight as well in which he performed good in. So I think it's imperative for us to highlight the actual fights, the actual displays of competitive spirit and heart and challenge and grit on that card, because it certainly was not displayed in any way between Riri the Racist and Mario Barrios. That was a goddamn charade. Okay? The actual excitement of the entire event last, over the weekend was these particular brothers who put on and showed up as expected, because it was these brothers that I was actually looking forward to seeing. Nothing else. So as expected, they showed up and showed out. Everything about the main event was nothing more than a main waste of fucking time, brothers and sisters. I cannot stress that enough. Okay? I went into this solely looking forward to seeing the Frank Nair, and others, right? And what was supposed to be Hitchens and Duarte, but I don't know what the hell is going on with Richard Chickens, aka Richard Bitchens, and all of these creative names that I've been seeing him be called all across social media, which are all very much accurate depictions and descriptions of this man. What is going on with Richard Hitchens, brothers and sisters? Man motherfucking pulled yet another disappearing act. What is going on with this man that he is pulling out of fights like this? This is the second fight in a row within a matter of a month that this man has pulled out of a fight. What is going on with that man? Richardson Hitchens. Huh? Man just pulled out of the goddamn Ortiz fight that he was supposed to partake in on the core and TO card, right? Now here he go again. Motherfuckers pull out game is incredible. He needs to really give courses on how to pull out properly and effectively. Okay? Richard Hitchens' pull-out game is pound for pound top 5. Hands down, you guys. He ought to put some of these men to shame out here. Okay? What is going on with this man's pull-out game? Insane. It's absolutely insane to me. Y'all need to take notes from this man. Okay? Now, allegedly, he backed away from that fight with Duarte, supposedly due to, some illness surrounding. I don't know if it was just illness or it was in tandem, the illness with the weight issues. I have no idea. But it was said that, immediately after the weigh-ins, allegedly he was vomiting and unwell, and he decided to just completely pull out of the fight and scrap the entire bout. Not sure what to make of that. In looking at it, of course. Of course, we want our, fighters to be healthy and stuff like that. But real talk, my real stance on this, good people, is, just take your ass up to 147 and stop playing in my face. If you couldn't make the weight and you had issues of illness due to your weight, you know what I'm saying? Mosey your ass on up to welterweight and stop the goddamn nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hear no damn excuses from this man. You signed up to fight. You knew for months on end, that you had this, or at least for let's say the past month, let's say, you had this fight, scheduled. Go ahead and do your just due. Make your weight like a professional. This is the weight you decided to remain within. His ass could have been moved up to 47, but you remained stagnant and, circling the division. Now here you are, sick, pulling out. It's like, what is going on? Just mosey your ass up, to 147, and it's just, I don't understand. He should not have another fight at 140, brothers and sisters. It's absolutely careless and nonsensical at this point. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, as far as the other matchups, Gary, Antoine Russell, the Andy or whatever, though I really enjoyed those fights. Now, both Frank Martin and Antoine Russell had to walk through fire. Like I said, these were actual competitive fights. Let's start with Frank. Okay. Going into that fight, I knew that it wasn't going to be easy pickings for him. Albright once again showed a level of dog, right? That I respected, but he definitely added on to his own allure, in gaining my respect and how he gained my respect in the way he approached Frank Martin. I thought it was a spectacular showing. He definitely earned even more of my respect as a fighter. He is a dog. Big respect to Nair Albright. Those men were in there fighting, baby, right? And Albright, he posed a real threat to Frank Martin, as we saw. We saw some very, not only competitive moments, but we saw some, aspects where people could even say that Frank Martin was exposed in particular areas as far as how Albright decided to approach him, right? There were moments where I was amazed even how Frank Martin was even still standing, in all honesty, right? Because he was getting hit with some shots, okay? Frank Martin's chin was tested, checked, and everything but scratched off the damn list, good people. Okay, that man was eating some crazy shots. I was like, sheesh, right? And that right hand seemed to land at will on Frank Martin, which was very interesting. I think that Martin definitely needs to sharpen up that level of defense that he has. It goes without saying, you guys, right? But Martin did, put on his own unrelenting pressure also on Albright in, particular exchanges, which was definitely interesting. Martin was absolutely dead set on, earning Albright's respect, which I think that he did. Amazing fight in my view. Of course, it came out to a draw decision. And I don't think that could have been more accurate a decision or a call to be made by the judges. So that was a good call. I would love to see that fight, ran back at some particular point, not too far off in the future. I think it'll make for a fantastic rematch. And during Frank's post-fight interview, he mentioned that he would absolutely be open to running that back with Albright. So salute to both men. That was definitely warriorship on deck. And that's something that needs to be saluted. Like I said, these men are not spoken enough about. It seems to be, he's overshadowed by the mythology, and song and dance that's being created around Ryan Garcia for something that he did not even earn in that ring, as far as I'm concerned, right? But the people like Frank Martin and the discourse around Gary Russell is just absolutely gone asunder, right? People are not even speaking about them, which is a huge disservice in my view. Now, speaking of Antoine Russell, that damn Antoine Russell and goddamn Andy, what? That fight was probably fight of the night for me. I mean, I loved both Frank Martin and what's his name's fight, but god damn, this fight was crazy as hell, you guys. Did you guys see that? Crazy work. And you know what's also interesting about Antoine Russell, brothers and sisters? You know, this man never seems to be spared of having to go through all out war in his matches. Does anybody notice that? This man, Antoine Russell, be in some crazy, fiery battles, you guys. He's never spared. He always got some heat and some pressure whenever he enters the ring. And I think it's wonderful because it's being, of course, it's for our benefit as boxing enthusiasts, right? But he is being made and carved into an even more fierce competitor and warrior, having, war experience on that high level, which is so interesting, right? I find that he always finds himself among some jarring, hell-raising ass matches. And he definitely proved to be in another one over the weekend. I was like, goodness gracious, you guys. Super exciting fight. Andy Hiroka, however you say that last name. First of all, that damn Andy, I'm not going to cap. I wasn't checking for him like that. I was not really privy to his fight style like that. I think I may have seen one fight of his or whatever in the past, but I kind of like breezed through that. I really stand 10 toes in watching him, and getting acclimated to what it is that he brings and delivers as a fighter, right? But Lord have mercy, he definitely earned my respect, and support, and seeing how he showed up for this fight with Antoine Russell, you guys. What? That damn Hiroka is crazy. Wonderful fighter. Brutal fighter, I would even posit. That man is an absolute dog. Okay. I know that a lot of people across social media have, edged it, the fight, itself to Andy. Of course, Antoine Russell won that fight, but I've seen a lot of people edge it to Andy. I honestly wouldn't have been mad if this fight was ruled a draw, brothers and sisters, right? And I think that was highly plausible of an outcome, especially when we consider the point deduction that was taken from Andy, I guess, for that low blow or whatever have you. So I wouldn't have been surprised if it was actually ruled a draw, save for, the deduction. But yeah, competitive fight, wonderful fight. Did you guys see that body work that motherfucker was administering to Antoine Russell? That man was chopping away at Russell like he was a tree. You hear me? Like he owed him some damn rent money, brothers and sisters. God damn, that body work was spectacular. Oh my God, I was twisting and turning in my seat, curling up in my seat. Those damn exchanges. Oh, Lord have mercy. Wonderful fight. I'm like, how did that man, Antoine Russell, walk out of that ring? But like I said, Antoine Russell is a dog, you know what I mean? And even though he was receiving, some severe punishment, he was administering his own pressure to Andy as well. It was absolute dog on dog violence, you guys. Crazy work. These brothers was in there working. Do you hear me? Everything was pressure. Nothing was delicate in that ring. Okay? That was a battle. That was an absolute battle. It was wonderful to see those men go to war like that. Like I said, of course, Antoine got the dub. Happy for him. Real talk, I wouldn't be mad to see them run that fight back either. Right? I'm not sure if he would want to go through that type of hellacious battle with that man again. But listen, if they decided to run it back, at whatever point, even if it isn't necessarily immediately, let's say somewhere down the line, they cross paths again, I would definitely be in support of that particular matchup. Excellent showing of warriorship, you guys. God damn, they was deep in battle. Okay, and also I'm definitely looking at Andy as a crazy competitor in the 140 division. So much activity at 140, and people just seem to be proving themselves left and right in this particular division, right? We had, of course, Andy, what's his name? Dalton Smith, right? Show improved recently. He's shaking things up now that he is a champion. Of course, we have Andy Hiroka proving his valor. you know, to people like me who weren't necessarily familiar with his style, right? I know that a lot of people may have considered him a dog previously, but like I said, I wasn't necessarily really on him like that. You know what I'm saying? Even though I came across that one particular fight. He definitely earned my respect. I would love to see how he's going to mix it up at 140, brothers and sisters. Excuse me? Excuse me? Imagine him against Keyshawn Davis if Keyshawn stays at 140. Right? Because of course we would like to see the likes of Antoine Russell against everybody at 140. You know what I'm saying? Frank Martin, Keyshawn Davis, definitely Shakur Stevenson and what have you. We want to see Antoine Russell. But imagine also Andy with that level of warriorship that he displayed. Imagine him mixing it up with Frank Martin even, or whoever, even a Shakur Stevenson, who knows? But I doubt that Shakur would want that type of pressure, right? He is very fleet of foot in the department of competition. So I doubt that that would be, you know, a match that would be made. But I mean, wonderful stuff, you guys. Amazing fights can definitely be shaped and formed at 140. So definitely congrats to those men. I definitely enjoy that. Also, brothers and sisters, before I check in with you, I know I have been going in for a good bit of time. So before I get into the next thing, I want to just mention this really quickly before I get into talking to the brothers and sisters. Like I said, it's absolutely paramount to highlight the fact that these fights were so spectacular that they were the event. They were the card. Okay? The undercard, you know, Gary Antoine should have been the main event and Frank Martin should have been the co-main. Real talk. That piece of shit ass racist Riri and that fucking clown that went in there and laid down as submissively as he could on his back, aka Mario Barrios, was an absolute, you know, debacle of a showing. They should have been on the undercard, under the damn basement of the undercard. That's where the hell they should have been, right? So I find it to be of serious importance to highlight these beautiful brothers who put on and actually gave us the night of boxing, you know, that many of us paid for, whatever have you. Okay? So that in the aftermath of these wars that took place, it's so disheartening that not a lot of people are talking about this as far as like widespread across social media, the boxing, you know, community out here. You know, the high level fights that we actually got from these brothers put on and held boxing on their back this weekend on that particular card, right? And it's crazy to me that there is a fog being cast around, you know, Frank Martin and Albright and Russell or whatever have you, Mary Jones or whatever have you, right? These are the actual fights that demand, you know, that demanded, you know, grit and earning your spot. Those men were not given anything in their particular battles. They had to earn that. Even the draw had to be earned. Okay? That's how much for blood these motherfuckers was going. Excellent, excellent warriorship expressed by these men. I cannot give them any more praise. So salute to the you know, the brothers that showed up and showed out, you know, for the card. I can't believe how a fight that was nowhere near as competitive, had no entertainment value whatsoever, not even any worth whatsoever. You know, I dozed off on the damn when racist Riri was fighting multiple times. I fucking passed out. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching that fight, dozed off, woke up. Oh, it's the 7th round. Okay, now wake me up when this is over. I ain't give a goddamn about that fight. Two sloppy ass, lackluster ass chumps in the ring. That's what the fight looked like to be. Two clowns playing patty cake. That's what that fight looked like to me. Absolutely repulsed. Absolutely repulsed, you know. But anywho, let me check in with the good family. I had a lot to get off of my chest, good people. And I want to move quickly into some other points of note for the good. Oh, salute to the beautiful Emma. Hey, salute to the Queen Emma. I'm always excited to see the beautiful sis in the building. Ain't she so cute, y'all? I can like feel her spirit. Like every time I see her name in the chat, it's just like nothing but vibes, good vibes everywhere. Salute to my sis. Also, we got some sister energy on deck with the Queen Tay Brown in the building. Salute to the beautiful Queen Tay. You guys know I get super excited when my sisters join me in the building. Okay. Oh, hold up. Is this the king? My number one comrade? Hold up. Coach of the Truth Tellers, aka my number one comrade, is in the building. Salute to my comrade. He says the fact that ducking Devin Haney is being allowed by the boxing world speaks volumes. Absolute facts, comrade. Okay? It's crazy work. Absolutely crazy work what is taking place in the sport. Comrade also said Keyshawn and Shakur over there blushing. Weren't they? Weren't they? All up in the crowd just a cheesing and tickle pink, comrade. Crazy. Salute to the king. Salute to the king, DP. He said extraterrestrial. You know what, DP? DP is probably the most diabolical mind in all of the boxing community. The things that this man comes up with on when I tell you a day-to-day basis, like I look at what DP says every day in these chats, whether we're on Beautiful King BF's chat or wherever, right? How does his mind work like this? Look what this man said, extraterrestrial. I don't know where this man pulls from, the mental reservoir you pull from, DP, but you are an endless source of creative, what do I call it? Shade. Oh my God, salute to the king, DP. He says the craziest things on a regular basis, and I love it. Salute to my twin. He says, actually, the rematch could have happened 3 times already. Ryan blatantly ducked each opportunity. Absolutely. I went a ways up, beautiful people, to just catch up on. Oh my goodness, salute to my big bro. Infinite blessings to the king, Drew Titan in the building. He says, and Shakur agreed, yet he wants to fight. These little ninjas, boy. Child, tell them again, big bro. Tell them again. Crazy. Salute to Anthony. I see you in the building. I wanted to read this comment you said. He says, he will try to keep the belt as long as possible. He is only profitable and sellable attached to a black fighter, where he will try to cheat everyone melanated. Real talk. And that's a conversation that, you know, I refuse to let go to the wayside. It really is paramount for us, especially the black boxing community, black boxing fans, for us to be privy to, right? For us to express no level of reticence whatsoever in attacking as a focal point, as a point of discussion. These are the things that we have to talk about as resoundingly as possible, because it is by way of this, pushed, agenda that they are trying to promote and surround around within this mythology now of, Ryan Garcia's quote unquote newfound prominence, his unblemished, untarnished history, right? The protecting of his chastity, if you will, whatever have you. We know that shit is a load of crap. You know what I'm saying? We know that this man is absolutely counterfeit in every way possible, that he has denoted a history of that. And it's a history that we will not put down and we will not be forgetful of. Okay. And we need to be cognizant of how his association and proximity to blackness is supplying every level of prominence or esteem or stature that he is quote unquote holding right now. It's crazy work. I refuse to protect that chump, that coward. No, he will not be cossetted in this space, and he shouldn't be cossetted or coddled in any conscious black fight space. Real talk. Okay. Salute to somebody named Legacy the Great. Blessings to you. He says, I just saved this live to my Black Power playlist. Salute. Infinite blessings to you, King. Infinite blessings to you. I had to charge my computer. Ain't it nasty work? Ain't it nasty work, Noah? Noah also added, racist Ryan Garcia, been a culture vulture. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that the brothers and sisters, like I said, there is a widening and a broadening of the consciousness, right? Because at one particular point, it just seemed like everybody was buying into the mythology, not only surrounded by racist Riri, but just about these fighters in general, like the general disposition and perception and adherence to the information that we are inundated with by boxing media. It seems like we were so receptive to these dispositions. And I like the fact that there is more of an independent thought that is being accepted by Black boxing fans, and I would even extend that to all boxing fans. Of course, I'm going to centralize, my people, my culture, whatever. But, real talk, the reality is that any lover of boxing, anybody who supports and respects this sport should be looking at the folly for exactly what it is. It is not limited, to any one particular culture. I wouldn't accept drug cheating if it was, had or exemplified between Mexican fighters, because I don't like drug cheating. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't care if a Ukrainian cheated somebody from France. I'd be like, damn, this is my fucking drug cheat. You know what I'm saying? So that the behavior should be reprimanded through and through. So that anybody who calls themselves a boxing fan should be looking at this in absolute disgust and dismay. But it's unfortunate that as it pertains to Black culture, it seems like you are given, it seems, it has been proven that you are given a pass, to readily compromise and simultaneously lynch off of Black warriorship, so that you can compromise that Black warriorship, for example, with Ryan Garcia cheating Devin Haney and amassing a level of success that he has never, ever reached and will never reach, right? But that he could only have maintained and garnered that for himself through that action, right? So that he can leech off of the Black presence, but at the same time, he is also reinforced and rewarded for lynching, like I said, off of the very culture that he denigrated. It's a disgusting cycle, brothers and sisters. It really is. Like, the psychological aspect of this is very, 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 very deep, very deep. And it just was imperative for me, to bring this discussion to the table. Absolutely. Salute to my beautiful sis, Queen Bella in the building. I see you, sis. Yep, I see the good people chopping it up. Okay, so let me get to the next thing. You guys, we definitely have to speak about and give our salutations to the GWOAT Clarissa Shields and the beautiful sister and the beautiful warrior queen, Franchon Cruz Dezern, for the performances that they put on last evening. Clarissa Shields put on, let's not play games with the sister, with the GWOAT, okay? Hell of a showing last evening, okay? And she did it against another highly touted, highly acclaimed, highly credible warrior queen, in the good sister Franchon Cruz Dezern, who I am another, avid supporter of. You know what I'm saying? Both of these queens put on such a fantastic showing, you guys. It was wonderful to partake in that. Watching that, it was wonderful seeing the Black national anthem sung, right? Clarissa's always going to represent for her people 10 toes, unapologetically. Okay, so that we got to see all of that. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Both of these queens put on a fantastic showing. It was wonderful to see the people show up, right? Looked like it was a packed house in there. We had Boosie, walk out Clarissa Shields in an epic ring walk. Excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. I loved the production of it. I loved everything of it. The stars came out, okay, in support of that. Great to see also Bud, right? He was going to stand 10 toes in support of the GWOAT, so it was good to see him come out and support the sister. I loved it, you guys. It could never be overstated how two prominent elite Black female fighters came to claim turf and to put on for the sport of boxing, brothers and sisters. Two Black sisters. That in itself is just, you know what I mean? Talk to me nice. Two Black sisters, and they put on in Black History Month. Good people. What? Yes. Yes. I loved it. I absolutely loved the showing last night, and I love the performance that they put on. And I am definitely in support, of all the ventures of these queens. You know what I mean? They had a fiery war. Okay. Fight got fiery in their exchanges. There was also all types of, fiery exchanges even before they entered the ring, right? And the build up to the fight, the back and forth that they were doing, all of it got tumultuous and messy, child. But, at the end of the battle, for supremacy, what did these beautiful sisters do? They hugged it out, and they earned even more respect for each other, not only as elite warriors, but as sisters. As sisters, good people. It was so wonderful to see them in the aftermath of that battle and talk it out in that ring and love up on each other and congratulate each other and say, "Ooh, girl, yeah, you hit hard." And oh my goodness, I really support you. I respect you. It was wonderful to see that exchange between warriors. I love that part, where the respect from one warrior to another can be had and shared and exchanged. Wonderful stuff, you guys. Once again, the GWOAT Clarissa Shields absolutely dominated. Okay. She definitely earned the right to retain, her undisputed heavyweight championship. Every bit of respect needs to be placed on our sister's name, the GWOAT Clarissa Shields. She is the GWOAT. Okay. Hands down, without a doubt, the best female fighter in boxing, period. She solidified her place once again and reminded all of these motherfuckers just exactly who she is and what type of time she is on. I loved it, right? And we definitely, most certainly, and indubitably need to put all of our respect also on the Warrior Queen Franchon's name, okay? Not only for going for blood and battle, because that's exactly what she was doing. She was letting them things go, baby, right? But that she also, over the years has brought her level of elite competitorship to the table that we must respect and give credence to. She has also exemplified elite warriorship in boxing, brothers and sisters. That's the sister Franchon Cruz Dezern. Okay? The people like to quietly overlook the Queen Franchon, but not over here. I refuse to allow for that. She is an exemplary warrior. And these women are forever linked in their journeys as fighters, which is so interesting to me, right? Because they are long rivals, okay? Ever since the amateurs, they have that history stemming all the way back then. These women have a history of having to prove themselves to each other. To each other. Why is that a concept that is being mystified in boxing? Like somehow you should not be having to constantly prove yourself to your equal, to other men and women of valor and worth in the sport. The Queens Franchon and the GWOAT have a history of having to prove their stature to each other, brothers and sisters. That's the spirit of boxing in motion for the bitches in the back. Okay? Passion for warriorship. They had to go through each other. And last night was another exemplification and showing of that. Last night was another chapter in their development as warriors, having once again clashed swords with each other and made each other great. Iron sharpens iron, brothers and sisters. That's the type of heart I want to see. That's the type of heart that I back and that I support. You cannot be made by avoiding collision. Have some of these niggas in boxing take notes from these queens. You feel me? Tell some of your favorites in boxing, these dudes in male boxings, to take notes from the sisters. All these women on that warrior time. These women have been on a collision course, Clarissa and Franchon, since their beginnings. And it didn't stop them from having to prove and solidify once again their supremacy to each other as warriors, to gain each other's respect as warriors on the field of competitive warriorship. They didn't run from that smoke. They ran to each other to get it. That's boxing, brothers and sisters. Okay? Now, I love that aspect of history between them, and I highlight that and centralize that point because it's imperative for us to understand the idea of history with your opponent. That's not something to run from. Their history brought them together. Their history made them ironclad as warriors. It is because they faced each other that they are great elite women in boxing. Okay? They brought that history with them to the ring last evening, good people. They did not flinch or recoil at the opportunity to show and prove their dominance in stature as fighters against each other. Against each other. Both of these fighters ran towards each other. Tell your favorite fighters to catch up. Both of these women understood the assignment and understood the mission. And that mission is what? That the best must fight and prove themselves among the best. That is the mission, brothers and sisters. A lot of these people out here are diverting away from the assignment. How is that happening in boxing? We got more runners than actors. Tom and Jerry is actually descriptively correct as far as the mentality and character of a lot of these people. If it didn't apply as far as their fighting style that we didn't accept when it was, attributed to the likes of Shakur Stevenson or whatever have you, certainly his character is motherfucking Tom and Jerry out this bitch. Certainly Purple Pain Davis is a fucking Tom and Jerry runner out this bitch as far as character and stature, because all they've been doing is duck and smoke with each other. The sisters didn't run from nothing last night. It didn't matter how many times they met on the battlefield. It didn't matter how many years they have known each other, how many times they have watched each other develop as women and as warriors. They didn't duck and dodge the smoke. End of discussion. Because they know at the end of the day, the best must fight the best. She knows that she's the best as the GOAT. And we already know what time Franchon is stepping on. They said, oh yeah, let's prove it again. Let's prove this again. And that's what they showed up with, that type of spirit, that type of valor. There was no sassy protests against trading leather. Oh, because I've known you for such and such years. Oh, because I consider you a friend. Sound familiar? The GOAT and Franchon are friends as well and have been. Didn't stop them from trading leather and stepping 10 toes on that battlefield, that's for sure. That's what the queens proved last night. Even if they were tit for tat, even if things got sassy and heated and fiery, didn't matter. That's all in the name and the spirit of competitorship. That's what happens. But at the end of the day, what did they do? Dap it up, hug it out, and love up on each other as warriors and as competitors, with even more respect for each other as competitors and as women. How is it that the sisters, brothers and sisters, you tell me this, how is that, that the women can put their friendships aside for the spirit of competition, but men like Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson can cry like some little daffodils in the wind when it comes to battling each other? How is it that the queens can practice warriorship and competitorship at this level, but these so-called young lions, these so-perceived young gunners and next ups, as far as the male division is concerned, cannot do that? They have not grasped the concept of that. The queens absolutely put these suckers to shame, brothers and sisters. Okay? Completely expose the entire charade and cop-out mentality that they have assumed that alleges that, friends cannot compete at the highest level and make history together. You guys, I posted something on my Twitter, last evening, off the back of the fight, and it got a lot of views. I think right now it may be up to something like 10,000 views. And one of the people, I actually saw this before I went live. I had no idea. I just saw the, notifications coming in on my Twitter. Funny enough, a lot of my stuff on Twitter has been gaining a lot of traction. And this particular post that I posted, about the fight with the GOAT and Franchon, got a lot of wind. And look who reposted this. Look who, first of all, saw it and reposted my particular tweet that was celebrating the warriorship expressed by these two women. Look at this. Ronda Rousey, you guys. Ronda Rousey. So this is what I expressed in my tweet. I said, friends can fight and make history in boxing. Stop the Trump ass logic that supposes otherwise. This is about the best fighting the best. Like I said, a lot of people caught wind of this and was feeling me on that. And Ronda Rousey caught wind of it as well, which is crazy. She says, so true. People can tell fabricated animosity is fake. There's more than one way to promote a fight. Thank you for proving what's possible, ladies. Right? So interesting stuff. And she wasn't, of course, the only one. Like I said, it got a lot of comments and a lot of people sharing their sentiments. But that's the spirit of the best fighting the best, right? You can put your differences aside. You can put things like history and friendship aside even. When we are talking about best fighting the best, that isn't something that should ever be bypassed or looked over or dissuaded from, brothers and sisters. For some reason, it has become a popularized theme in boxing within this particular landscape that says that somehow it's okay to bypass the valor of the very thing we signed up to see boxing for. I don't sign up to see nobody fucking play patty cake with each other. You know what I mean? I come to see that heart. I come to see who a fighter is. I come to see what fighter is going to be made, whether in their defeat or their victory. I'm riding 10 toes. I don't give a damn about the outcome. It is your character. It is your heart that I salute. That's what makes me a diehard boxing fan, brothers and sisters. It's the spirit. It is not necessarily your record, so to speak. More so than it is one's resume, your attempt to exemplify that level of heart and warriorship and gallantry. That's the gold for me. That's the treasure. And so many of these people have adopted, this precious mentality that is just absolutely, like I said, the Queen showcased a level of gallantry that puts, a lot of the shenanigans going on as far as the men's division is concerned to absolute shame. Because not only were they willing to compete with the best, competitor around them, they were willing to do that. So that's checked off the list. But they were also, willing to say, as friends, as sister friends, we can still get this popping and make history together for heavyweight female boxing. You understand? So that they had tapped into so many, myriad levels of warfare, myriad levels of heart and competitorship and the display of that. They tapped into that all in this one fight last night. And I think that's why my tweet resonated, so deeply and so resoundingly with a lot of people. Because, I think it snapped back into the reality, back into focus that, listen, this has to happen. It is not through ducking and evading that you get popularity. And we should never coset the mentality that supposes such a thing. You should be made in the fire. How else does iron get made? How else does a sword get made? You know what I mean? So I thought that was a very interesting, post. Here it is. Look at here's Ryan, beaming as a champion. Oh, I'm a champion now, right? Absolute asininity to me. But anyway, yeah, good people. These beautiful sisters showed up and showed out, and it's actually the very thing, that a lot of these people are refraining from. You know what I'm saying? Our good sister Clarissa Shields earned every bit of her championship, earned every bit of retaining her undisputed stature, and solidifying her history. What did this man do? But have a belt handed to him, right? The easiest route that he could take. You know what I mean? So that we need to be looking at these aspects of championship and valor, and who is actually being made and who is simply riding the coattails or the mythology of a trumped up, storyline that's fed to the public. You know what I mean? There's a big difference, brothers and sisters, and we need to be absolutely aware of that. Because people can't skate by doing the absolute bare minimum. Speaking of bare minimum, brothers and sisters, before we wrap it up here this evening, is Keyshawn Davis operating on the bare minimum mentality? I need to ask that question, right? Because of course we have been seeing the charades that he has been doing. Right now, I have no problem with somebody, garnering a level of attention in the promotion of themselves or whatever have you. You put yourself out there to be seen or whatever. It's definitely generating buzz around you. But I don't know, you guys. You already know how I feel about inanity and imbecility. I just can't stand it. Right, so that when it peaks up, um, I really am perturbed every time by that level of garnering a level of attention towards oneself. Did you guys see, like I call him the water boy? Did you guys see the water boy slash gopher? You know what I mean? Keyshawn Davis. Um, Also in the audience cheerleading for his boyfriend Riri. It's just sickening, you guys. I grow more and more sick of this dude as the days and weeks and years pass, it seems. How could we forget, first of all, the love affair that he has with Riri the racist? Let's not forget that we saw Keyshawn Davis coquettishly, right along with his BFF Shakur Stevenson, coquettishly cajoling and sugar talking racist Riri on camera those years ago, right? Full frontal in support of racist Riri, right on the heels of that racist tirade that he went on, right? Didn't matter. Racist rant notwithstanding. Loving up all over Riri the racist. So that it was no surprise to me, brothers and sisters, to see him, showering and doting over racist Riri over the weekend in support of this man. Now, anyway, this is what I really wanted to highlight that I saw that I thought was quite, I don't even know what word to use, you guys. Disturbing is not the word. Very questionable. I don't know how many synonyms I can throw in here, brothers and sisters. It was odd and strange and sick to me. Now, did you guys see this on Twitter? I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, Keyshawn has a fetish for showing up on the wrong side of history. I'll just say that. Okay. A few days ago, Keyshawn was seen on a post on Twitter that I had come across, talking to this old white man. Now, I had no idea who this was. It was being reposted everywhere. Somebody that I am affiliated with had posted it. So I took a, gander at it. And Keyshawn is seen talking to this old white man. He's in a car with a friend. And in this clip, the white man says the following. Keyshawn and the friend are laughing, and then you can hear this old white man say this. He says, quote, "You should see Devin Haney's sister. Have you seen his sister?" This is that white man. Now, first of all, the way that this man said that, just in and of itself, was a red flag for me. I was like, what? Devin Haney? Like, I had to run it back. Like, what? What did he say? Why are you saying it like that? You know what I mean? So that it had this very ominous, creepy type of tone to it, you guys. This is no cap. The red flags went immediately off for me. Okay? Now, it was eerie. It was alarming off the bat. Now, Keyshawn and the other dude in the car, after hearing this man say that, for whatever reason, find this to be funny. They find it funny. So there's a lot of cackling. There's a lot of giggling going on. Like, ooh, what did he say? Oh, no. You know how they do, right? Imbecility in full motion, in full swing. Now, the man says this, brothers and sisters, and he proceeds to pull out his phone. He pulls out his phone and he shows a photo, allegedly, of Devin's sister. Now, of course, I'm thinking, how the hell does this man knows what Devin's sister looks like? First of all, I only know of one sister of Devin, and that's the little cutie, that we've seen Bill post or whatever. I believe that she plays tennis. I got to see her, not really exchange with her, but I got to see her in person when I was at the fight in Times Square or whatever. Little cutie, right? Little sweetie. So I'm like, hopefully he's not talking. I'm like, he can't be talking about, she's like fucking maybe 11. She's a baby. Right? So that, I didn't even know that Devin had another, an older sister. So he pulls out his phone, and the friend and Keyshawn are laughing, and Keyshawn and the dude are giggling in the back seat. Now, they look like a bunch of fourth graders, like, how some sneaky ass rambunctious ass fourth graders are about to look at a sexy comic book and they start giggling like, ooh, hee hee. That's what these fools look like to me in that damn car. So while this old ass white man pulls out his phone to show them the picture that he is gawking over, right? He takes out his phone of Devin's sister and he shows them, I guess, this photo of the sister. Now, Keyshawn is heard laughing in this clip and seen laughing in this clip with the friend. And he says something like, wait, oh, she looks taller than me, something like that, right? Just commenting on the image. And he and the friend continue laughing. And then Keyshawn says, yo, you got to get this on camera. He's laughing at the fact that this man, whoever the fuck he is gawking over the sister of a man that he knows. Now, I know that Devin Haney is not BFFs with you know what I'm saying, Keyshawn or whatever have you. But something about just the idea of Keyshawn making a spectacle. And when I would say this man is old, this is an old ass white man. He looked like a whole creep, honestly, especially in viewing this video. Why was he in possession of a picture of her, first of all? Devin Haney's sister, like I said, I didn't even know she existed. So that she is not publicized or anything like that, or in the limelight or anything like that. Right? A lot of red flags came to mind, beautiful people. Now, the young king gets wind of this clip. And he replies to it by saying the following. He says, this pervert used to wrap my hands when I was a little kid. He used to take me and my sister to eat and get ice cream. Whole time he was fantasizing about how she would look when she was older. A real sicko. That's the statement the young king made, brothers and sisters. Do you hear this? So that my energy in the red flags was already on 10, 9.5 when I heard, you know, the tone of that man's voice. And then when I saw the giggling and the gascinating and the how careless that Keyshawn was, that was another level. But when I saw the young king make this reply to that video, I was just like, oh, hell to the no. What is really going on here? First of all, you know, what the hell? What the hell? The young king just outed this old fucking cracker as a pervert, brothers and sisters. That's essentially what the young king is saying. That man was, you know, fantasizing. I mean, obviously that's something that they came to find out later on, I'm guessing, you know, from his statement. He said he used to take me and my sister to get ice cream and to get food or whatever. Whole time it turns out he was fantasizing about what she would look like when she was older. What? This is who the fuck Keyshawn is keying it up with in a car and talk about, oh no, we got to get this on camera. So that, do you see my point of absolute disgust, people? What the fuck is this man endorsing with that type of nonsense? Moreover, how did the spidey senses of Keyshawn not go off as soon as that man drew out his phone and said what he said about Devin's sister, brothers and sisters? You mean to tell me that no alarm went off in their mind? Maybe they didn't care about the alarms. Maybe they just simply didn't give a fuck, real talk, right? They didn't ask no questions. They didn't care to ask no questions like, how you know his sister? Where do you get such a picture from? Blah, blah, blah. They didn't give it to him to ask no goddamn questions. You let some old, decrepit, suspicious ass white man show you a pic, obviously lusting and thirsting over a young black woman, let alone the sister of a man that you know? You ain't gotta rock with him to be on fucking code, nigga. This is what Keyshawn is endorsing? That's that man's family. Like, I'm questioning at what point is that ever okay? You know what I mean? You don't gotta go sip tea with Devin Haney on, every Sunday morning in order to look at that and be like, yeah, chill, son. The fuck? This is that man's sister. Clearly, she has nothing to do whatever, beef that you got with what's his name. Why are you allowing that aspect to be exploited like this for the gram? You mean you willing to go to that level for the gram? Is the question that I am posing. You would allow for that suspect ass energy. Motherfucker showing you a photo and you think it's cute for the gram? Oh, we got to get this on camera. You should just see him just laughing it up, just grinning every bit of his teeth. What? And not only are you laughing at that creepy ass behavior, but you are inducing it and coaxing it on. You guys, so many red flags were in that video. I can't even tell you. If you guys didn't see it, I'm sure you could find it. It's probably on YouTube by now. Like I said, this a couple of days ago. Actually more than a couple of days ago, maybe 3, 4, 5, 3, 4 days ago or something like that. Right. At some point mid of last week, I came across that video. I don't even know where to begin. I just found that absolutely astounding and disturbing, real talk. You know what I mean? I know that Keyshawn is with the shenanigans and he will go to the lengths of whatever for a click and a view. You know what I'm saying? But to go to the avenue of the perverse, to go to the avenue of the subversive, that shit ain't cool. Nobody's sister has anything to do with whatever it is that you're trying to promote with Devin Haney. You clout chasing Devin Haney. Leave that man's sister, out of that. What is going on? What is he doing? Where does he draw the line for clicks and views? I did not like that at all. I didn't like it one bit. I found that to be extremely suspect, extremely disgusting. I'm not with that shit. I don't play that shit. Did you guys see that? Interesting stuff, you guys. And I wanted to highlight that really briefly for you because that's another thing that kind of came and went on Instagram, like it was there. I mean, on Twitter, it kind of rushed in, and within the matter of a day or two, it was kind of like on to the next. But I'm like, like y'all gotta be able to have some boundaries in boxing. I don't play with that. This old ass cracker lusting over somebody's sister, no, son. And it turns out that, Young King outed this man as a whole pervert anyway, a closet fucking freak any goddamn way. What is going on? It was absolutely predatory. It was absolutely twisted and subversive. If you watch it, just listen to the tone of that man's voice before he even pulled out his phone, brothers and sisters. The tone of that man's voice. I was already on 9.5. I'm like, the fuck? Why he sound like that? It was crazy work, you guys. That does not have a place in boxing. That doesn't have a place anywhere. Real talk. Why the fuck would you be co-signing and coaxing on this type of perverse, twisted behavior? What is going on? And he made no public apology, even though Devin Haney, came out and said what he said about that man. You know what I'm saying? That they had a history with him, stemming back to their youth, and that it turns out that he was, lusting over this sister quietly. Keyshawn could have at least came out and said, because he saw that shit, right? But he didn't even come out and say, oh my goodness, I was intending to just make a video, no disrespect. He didn't say shit. This is why I say Keyshawn always rides up on the wrong side of history. For a click and a view, he'll fucking shuck and jive and shake his ass at the drop of a dime too. What is going on here? There are some lines that should not be crossed, brothers and sisters. Okay? What is his proximity to elite Black warriorship in this type of display? And just in his overall, approach to boxing, as far as him ascertaining the mindset, of belts don't matter with these particular types of charades that he is, doing for a level of visibility and proximity to Devin, because he definitely wants to be in proximity to it via clout chasing. And that seems to be the end point. He wants to venture no further into any proximity to elite Black competitorship whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. But he will do, whatever he can for the gram. Ain't that interesting? Let me check in with the good people before we get out of here. I wanted to make the live, nice and meaty and extensive for the brothers and sisters, considering that I had to reschedule it, of course, from my normal time. But I'm glad that we got to divulge a lot of the aspects that, I had been thinking about and wanting to present to the good people. Salute to the King Jose in the building. First of all, I see you. I don't think I saluted you earlier. Salute to the King Jose. He says the ladies are bringing great fights. You're 100. Salute to you, King. Salute to the King Rodney J. Oh my goodness. Salute to the King Rodney. Where you been, Rodney? I feel like I haven't seen you in a little bit of time. Salute to the King Rodney James in the building. Blessings to my mama love. She said, cook. Thank you, mama love. Salute to the King NBA D Nice. Infinite blessings to you. Oh my goodness, the King Caldwell is in the building. I missed you earlier as well. Sorry, you guys, when I get to cooking, I don't really be looking at the screen until I finish, but infinite blessings to the King Caldwell. He says, I love the nicknames that you bestow on some of these clowns, like Purple Pain, Tank Davis, and Racist Riri. I need to know the name you gave Kiki. Kiki, do you love me? Keyshawn Davis. I like that one. Kiki, do you love me, Davis? I like that. I think I'm going to have to steal that one from you, actually. Kiki, do you love me, Davis? I like that one, King Caldwell. I think I'm going to actually use that. For now, I just tagged him the water boy because, you know, he's the gopher and the lackey for Shakur E.T. Stevenson. Okay. Salute to my comrade putting his fist up in the air, which means that he was highly concurring with something that I said. Okay, salute to my comrade. He also added, he says, the sisters are going to take this motherfucker over if these brothers keep being the footstool for their open enemies. Could not have said it better, comrade. Could not have said it better. You know, the brothers out here, you know, Young King is really, you know, ahead of the pack, ahead of the curve, as he always is. But because of that, you know, he's alone at the mountaintop, you know, as far as his contemporaries, right? We definitely have young people that we back and salute and support, like the young Abdullah Mason on the come up or whatever have you. And of course, we have people like David Benavidez, you know, and the higher up divisions, you know, standing 10 toes, and maybe a few others here and there. Of course, we have, you know, that we look to and that we support and give our backing to. But as far as who heralds the sport, it's undoubtedly the Young King. He definitely stands alone. And it's quite sad to see because there is so much latent potential everywhere in boxing. It does not make sense, you know, that it would be so scant. The energy of warriorship would be so scant in these boxing streets. But it's just, I don't know. The valor is at an all-time level of diminished. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. I think people are more concerned with, you know, the mythology created around them instead of proving, you know, that level of stature and earning it. It's a weird time in boxing indeed. Weird time in boxing indeed. As much as I love boxing, this era of boxing has a unique place. I don't think I could look back and ever say this is my favorite era of boxing, even though I am highly passionate and vehement about these fighters. There are definitely other areas of the boxing history that I can pull from that supersede this as far as the level of warriorship in which the fighters approached the sport. I think some of that heart and that spirit is missing, even though there are some fighters of note that we look to and respect to some degree or another. Salute to the King Uncommon. He says, great cooking on a weekday afternoon. Yeah, let them get, yeah, let me get a what? Oh, a to-go plate, please. And thank you. Oh, I'm serving it up, King. I'm serving it up, King Uncommon, because I didn't get to cook yesterday. I said, oh no, Monday afternoon, we got to get it popping. All right. I did not want to wait for a whole nother Sunday to come through to talk to my good family. He also says, salute SugarFreeMars, and people in the chat, smash the like button. Infinite blessings to the King Uncommon, aka St. Louis Mix in the building. Infinite blessings to you, King. Always wonderful to see you. Yes, twin. It was absolutely perverse. Go check it out on Twitter if you have Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Or type it in. It may be on, I'm not sure if it's on YouTube. It's definitely on Twitter. That's where I came across it for sure. You know what I'm saying? Crazy work. The tone of that man's voice, everything about it was very ominous and eerie and just off-putting. Absolutely off-putting. I wasn't with it at all. Okay? Salute to the King JL in the building. I see you too. He said he's a scumbag man. Ain't he? Ain't he? Oh, I think I got some super chats, you guys. Let me salute the people and bless the people who showed love to the channel. I got to support the supporters of the movement. Who we got in the building? We got my big brother, the Jew. Thank you so much, big bro. He says, I am enraged, sis. Wait till tomorrow. I'm cooking on this alone. This is the monkey's fault. Ain't it? We got to cook on this. You know what I'm saying? The cognizant boxing community, the real ones out here, as my comrade would say, the truth tellers. You already know we got to be 10 toes and nothing less on this particular subject, big bro. You know what I mean? Because they wouldn't have it any other way than for us to put it down, you know, and allow this to just, you know, turn into mist somewhere. No, this has to be spoken about. Absolutely. Salute to my big bro. And thank you so much for the support. Salute to the King Bean Pro. He says, King racist. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the only thing that he is a king of. Okay. The clowns, king of the chumps. So you are absolutely correct. King racist, Riri. Salute to you and thank you so much for the support. Salute to my good brother, the king. I am Trill. Will in the building. He says, sending love and light, queen. Keep cooking these frauds. Trill is the way. Yeah, for sure. Team DHP, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you. Of course, it's always good to see you in the building. Infinite blessings to my good brother. And we got my twin in the building. Salute to my twin, Daryl Anderson. He says, just leaving my usual color in the chat for a powerful cook. Okay. The comparison of Ryan to Kobe enraged me. But thank you, twin, for bringing it to our attention. You already know what time it is, King. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. As always, King, you already know I'm super grateful for your support and your presence and your constant motivation in the chat. I appreciate you, King. And we also have my good brother, the King Uncommon, St. Louis Mix in the building. He says, I'm telling y'all, someone in boxing is trying to get the Haneys to crash out. They sent Tiger on that dummy mission. And now this, mark my words, it'll all be revealed eventually. Everybody is in on it. Yes, King Uncommon. And you mentioned that a couple of lives ago. You know what I mean? I think right around the time of that whole scandalous altercation involving the Tiger Johnson and DHP or whatever have you. You called it then. You know what I mean? And, you know, I wholeheartedly agree that just a hit piece in general on the Haneys has been out for quite some time. And it was propelled into further motion off of the back of the whole scandal, you know, of the Ryan Garcia drug cheating debacle, you know, and it's still in motion. Right. So I couldn't agree more. And I think it's imperative for us to denote the levels and the myriad ways in which the proximity to Black excellence is being exploited, right? Because it has its commercial value, it has its value, it has its foundations, of course, in the sport, but how it's being utilized, you know, in the way that we see exemplified by Ryan Garcia is one avenue of it, but there are several factors at play here, right? As far as how Black elite expression and the proximity to that expression exploited by other Black fighters, right? Which is why I wanted to bring the aspect of how that's, of course, Stevenson by Tank Davis, by Keyshawn Davis, and these people that are being propped up to stand in direct opposition. The most exemplary expression of Black excellence right now, which is for me, Devin Haney, undoubtedly, right? And how they are being placed in direct opposition to that expression by not wanting, right? So it's a whole dynamic here that's at work that we could really unpack, you know, multiple layers on. And I definitely intend to, right? This is the point of us having these types of discussions, and the discourse is absolutely imperative because, like I always say time and time again, you already know my thing, you know, it's more than boxing, you know, that we cover and that we tap into here, right? We are not just being entertained, you know, simply sitting down and watching, you know, men get in there and hit each other upside the head. There's a lot of messaging that goes on and that is constantly at play and in motion, particularly via how Black excellence is propagandized, how it's utilized, how it's misused, how it's represented. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's a whole, we can be here for days, brothers and sisters. Like I said, this is why I try to, curate these discussions, because we could really be here for hours and hours and hours and hours on end attacking this. But I try to like serve you guys up, in certain portions per meeting, per discussion, right? Because this stuff can get really layered. But I think I will end it there, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. I really, really appreciate you guys. I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Like I said, I know this is anomalous of me to be here on a Monday afternoon starting, but I didn't get to speak to you guys yesterday. So I wanted to make time to join you guys and sit down and cook with the good family. So thank you so much for, carving out a bit of time to spend with me. And I will definitely see you on the next one. I may be posting some little things, some shorts, some other content. I think I'm going to try to start pushing out some more, video content in and of itself, in addition to some shorts and stuff like that. And as always, I like to touch base with you guys in the community page, give you some things and some insights that I have throughout the week as well. So definitely keep in touch with me, good people. Infinite blessings to my good people, you guys. You guys are so wonderful. And, talking boxing with you guys really, 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 makes the heart smile. So I'm sending you guys wonderful energy for the week ahead, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.